Alrighty, good morning, traders. This is Blake. You are listening to the Face Show, and no, I'm not Dale. Dale has taken the half day off, and it's probably not a bad day to take it off either because quotes have been down for like pretty much since. I'm not sure when they went down eventually, or actually, I'm not sure when they went down, but they are scheduled to come back on, especially in the futures, in about 30 minutes. So it should be very, very interesting as we kick off Friday. Now, before I get started, I just want to mention that this is the last weekend of our Thanksgiving offer for the Trader Funding Program. So if you haven't taken advantage of this, make sure you do so. Use the discount code Thanks 2025, and that discount code is good for any one of our funding programs, whether it's instant funding or one-step assessments. It's good for either one. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. All right, let me go over to K-Man really quick and see what has been happening in Europe.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, Kay. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Good morning,
So
everybody.
how long's the feeds been down?
8 hours at least. Um, at least 8 hours because I opened an eye around 4:35 p.m. and that's where the AM, sorry, my time, and it was already wonky then, so it may be even 10 hours, somewhere during Asian time. All of a sudden, they had a cooling problem at the CME and everything went wonky. Some markets continue to try to function. I saw gold and silver prices move, but then um, the prices were all but real. So they were not real actually. And because I tried to put in a bid at one stage in gold, and it went there and it wasn't executed. So there was nothing was real. So yeah, we don't know, man. I mean, and then the main FX provider actually, EBS went down as well, and that's been up for the past hour or so. Um, but that was down too, which is a big deal.
Yeah, and we've seen. I guess we've seen the dollar move around a little bit. I mean, the dollar's slightly higher on the day, the dollar index, but because the euro's been slipping a little bit from the recent move, and sterling's come off a little, but not a lot of moves have really developed though.
I think it had to do there must have been some it's the last day of the month, right? Maybe the
Right.
Europeans getting rid of some euros because we saw euro yen being a bit heavy, euro sterling without doing much being on the heavy side as well, euro Swiss. I think it's a few euros being sold. Also, euro commodities just slightly offered, but especially there was no liquidity. So if you got and give me a, I'm going to give a stupid example. If you got 100 million euros to sell in a market which is fully functional, it doesn't move. But if you got the same 100 euros to sell in a market where there's no EBS, maybe it's going to move a little bit. So yeah, I think it's more a case of not enough liquidity to absorb anything than anything else.
Yeah, I mean when we have these flows that are going to come through today,
Mm.
I mean how do you envision it if liquidity is still kind of poor, and when are all these trades going to get executed in your opinion?
It's going to be messy. I mean, EBS is up, so I mean the people can do flows, but it could get a bit spicy, you know. I mean, if by then we have not had how shall I say the market absorbing those hours of inactivity, because I mean when metals will reopen, when equity futures will reopen, when the treasury market futures will reopen, there's going to be unfilled orders that need to be done. So it could get a bit wonky. and
Yeah, and matter of fact, the futures are expected to open in approximately 26 minutes. Is that
yeah,
correct?
that's correct. That's what we heard. And then expect a few moves, and I have not the faintest idea what they could be because the models were calling for certain direction in dollar, which was purchases, but since then the equity markets have ramped higher, which should reduce all of this. So it could be just fully plainly messy, more than directional.
Yeah, and if you guys think about it, like this has been since the beginning of the week. The equity markets have rallied. I mean, we're talking 220
Mm,
points.
yeah,
And what K-Man's saying here is there was demand to buy dollars, but because equities have rallied so sharply this week, that demand may have not be there.
reduced. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and so now it's also going to be interesting. I mean, we noted this on Wednesday, so it's now that we're here today. We're right up against trendline resistance, the 78% retracement. I think this is going to be pretty important resistance today, but we don't know where futures are going to open. So, well, and how they're going to be trading
Oh,
when they open back up because they were a little firmer. I remember last night I was looking at futures and they were a little firmer. We were kind
yeah.
of up, and then now who knows where they're going to open and what's going to be trading. Because I was looking also at precious metals, and precious metals are moving right now,
Yeah,
but
but and I would be very, very how should I say skeptical about what we see right now because I'm not sure if those markets have already reopened. Have they?
well, here's the thing. I was just going to say, on my think or swim, actually they are moving again. I
Yeah, but they were moving during our day too, but they were not tradable. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I was just saying my quotes hadn't moved at all up until like literally 10 minutes ago, or maybe it was a little bit more than that. It could have been more than that. I hadn't been looking
Yeah, we
since
had
it
we
hadn't
had
been
those
moving.
kind of periods as well this morning where it was supposedly moving, but nothing was tradable. I'm still seeing like $2 wide on the one platform, and the other platform is tighter, but no, I'm not going to bank on those rates right now. Let's see on at the half hour what's going to happen then, right?
Right, and when we get that, we're actually going to get Canadian GDP. But in the meantime, and by the way, the dollar CAD is at some trendline support right now. You can see it's a rising trend line coming in right here, but channel support, I still see it much lower at like 139.50 by the time we get there. But before we talk about that, and again, we have that data coming out in a little bit. I see Stelios is here. Steve is here. So I want to get
Hello.
some views from these guys. Hey, Stel, how you doing?
I'm very good. I have to say, quote providers were down, but my souvlaki provider was not. So I had a really nice lunch an hour ago. Anyway, yeah, it's been down all morning. So Kay saying that it's probably 8 to 10 hours is about right. The thing is, today it's weekend, end of month. It's anything can happen. Obviously, I'm impressed with the last few days rally of stocks. You showed the S&P. We've been talking about 65.30 for quite a while, being a really, really big support, and we bounced right off that and really strongly as well. Yes, we are at resistance now, but I mean, overall, I'm very surprised by this market's resilience. And you know what they say, it's usually Santa Claus rally, so we're getting close to December where things usually get nice and frothy. So yeah, I mean, I find it difficult to see how we're going to have a big move lower now going into year end. So for choice now,
Right.
I'm probably bullish the market, even though it doesn't make too much sense. But
And especially with like you got the situation in Russia, Ukraine. Maybe if they're, I mean, if they put together a peace deal, I mean, we could
yeah,
we could be at new all time highs.
yeah, I mean, the peace deal, I think, with all the stuff happening back and forth, it's coming. I think it's most likely that it's coming. The question is what are going to be the details and all that. So the market is waiting for this relief rally on the back of some kind of deal. No matter what kind of deal it is, the market is going to rally. If it's a good deal, bad deal. Yeah, but let's see. Let's see what happens. The Souvlaki Supply Group. Yeah, that's very reliable data network. Yes.
I had Musaka yesterday still.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and I wait to see what happens with metals because silver is right on the cusp of breaking out of trend line resistance and new all-time highs. You know, it's if you join up those two peaks from October and November, we are exactly there now. So
I
very, very
can't believe
interesting.
how strong silver is. I
I
mean,
can't believe it either.
it's crazy. I was like, oh, when it gets to 52, it's going to be a big rejection. It was, and then, I mean,
And
it's just
then,
been,
I
and then
expected
it's
the
just
dip.
nonstop. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
hey,
Yeah, it's
Mitch.
just crazy.
I expected the dip to be bigger than that. We got to what 47 or so on the lows, or maybe not actually lower 45. I expected it to go a little bit further, but it's so resilient. And I tell you what, if we do break out and have a daily close of new all-time highs, I'm getting long again, and I don't care. And I'm gonna put a stop below the previous low, the previous high. And if it gets hit, it gets hit. But it's just too strong for me not to be a part of it again.
And set on the 31st of December, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're in both metals, or even platinum. I don't know, but I'm not following that closely. You do, but I think the metals are going to close the year on highs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree.
It sure feels like that. Well, if silver is if silver and gold continue to power higher, how's the dollar going to take that? I mean, do you actually let me go back to Cayman really quick, and Steve, I'm going to
Sure.
come get your thoughts. But Cayman, we've seen pricing in rates. And we've seen them change dramatically this week, where they've shifted from, a 50% probability that we're going to get a rate cut to about 80 for the Fed in a week and a half. So, how do you feel about this pricing flip? And should we be chasing the dollar lower as a result?
Um, ah, Now there's a good question because I mean, if the market has already priced it in, why would we chase anything further? That's one thing. Let's not forget that even if they cut another 25 BPs, they are still going to be about 3.5, 3.75%, which is still a percent and a half at least higher than the ECB. And but it's what to me is actually more important is that it's first of all, it's going to still be a close call in the votes, I guess. But secondly, we won't have the next jobs data nor CPI before the next FOMC. So somewhere, regardless what they do, is it can change the week after when we get the jobs report. If it is a weaker jobs report, then there is no shadow of a doubt. Whatever inflation does, in my opinion, whatever, regardless what it does, if it's a weaker jobs report, the dollar will get smacked. But then, do we do it on the ahead of the FOMC? I'm not 100% sure that we have to. It could, if you look at euro dollar, he could just hang around, 115, 117 until or 116 and a half until the FOMC, up and down in 150 points, and then we will see where we end up at or post FOMC, and especially on the jobs. But if the jobs are weak, then it's yeah, the dollar will get a smack. If they defy once more the laws of gravity, then that rate, if they cut the rates the week before, won't matter. I mean, because that would still mean that the job market remains more resilient than what people fear.
Yeah, I mean and that's the thing is we're going to get data after the FOMC. I kind of think that what's going to happen is we are going to get a cut because the Powell doesn't go against consensus. So if the consensus is in the next week and a half that the Fed is going to
In general, central banks don't want to move outside the expectations, right?
Right. So Powell's gonna let's say he's gonna just he's looking for a consensus. He's gonna cut rates, but then it could end up being a hawkish cut. And if it was a hawkish cut, and the one thing that we've been talking about, like I was talking about it with Chris Weston on the Trade Off Show, I mean, you just saw what happened with the Kiwi on a hawkish cut.
Yeah,
You
the
know, it was
market was mega short Kiwi, right?
right. And but you look right now, and everybody's been leaning into the dollar too. You know,
Wow.
everybody's selling dollars right now. You know, happily going into the Fed meeting. You know, this is from last week. You see that the dollar has come off, but if people are, if we get a hawkish cut, I mean, the dollar index could be right back at highs, if not
Yeah.
breaking out.
Yeah, and then you have to wait for the data. The thing is, when the market changed its view again, because you remember we were at like 75% probability of a cut, and then there were all the hawks coming out, and then the probability went down to below 50%, and then there's one person who came on the line, and he normally is seen, or most people think he's seen as the messenger, and that was Williams. And once Williams spoke, the market completely flipped around again. And so on the back of his comments, yeah, I mean that would normally mean that Powell is also ready for a cut, which is surprising because he was fighting market expectations quite hard over the last FOMC. So it is somewhere a bit surprising.
Well, I'm sure he still probably feels that way too, but this is a consensus type of, situation. He may be in the I'd rather keep rates unchanged, but he's going to go with, this is why it could end up being more hawkish because he could go with, the consensus and with, you got so many other, Fed governors voting for a cut. He's going to end up going for a cut reluctantly, but the press conference will come off pretty hawkish.
Yeah, could be, and they can always hide to cut after behind that last um, what was that? The Challenger layoffs, and then we had a very weak Chicago PMI, and all those kind of things. They can hide behind it to cut, but yeah. Oh, maybe he wants to be the next Fed chairman again, and cutting.
I think that's
I was
I think
Kind
that
of.
ship has sailed. That ship has
Yeah,
sailed. Yeah, it's
exactly. I think
gone.
that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was
yeah.
gonna say it doesn't really matter. The question is who takes rates to 2%? Is it gonna be Powell or is it gonna be his successor, who's
Assets,
gonna be definitely an Uber
asset.
dove? That's the thing.
Oh, it's gonna be Hassett. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now if Hassett gets the gig, but it seems like he's gonna be getting the job. That because I feel that this last week them slipping his name out was a litmus test of the market. Getting it, and obviously equity markets liked it, and the dollar, sold off, and that's exactly what the Trump administration wants to see. That's how Trump views his, how he's being ranked is how the equity markets are responding. So. Anyway, hey Steve, and thank you, K-Man, for your thoughts here. Steve, what's your views as of right now? How are you seeing things with equities moving? The dollar's under pressure, euros kind of sideways. How are you feeling about everything you're seeing here?
The dollar is stable after 2 days of being a little bit under pressure. But I don't think that technically anything has changed in regards to the dollar. And in general, if we're talking about the bigger picture in FX, yeah, that's the exact same channel I'm looking as well in the DXY, the one you have at the moment. And I'm also looking at the broken trend line resistance that might be support from this point forward. So as long as we trade about 99, above 99.20, I don't think that we can really assume that something has materially changed for the dollar. In regards to equity markets, we've had a rebound that has exceeded my initial conservative expectations. I say conservative because I'm always the one that says that whenever you're trading counter trend, you have to be prepared for moves to go against you, right? We have this soft trend line resistance that you're showing there at the moment, which is also the 78.6% of the move lower. In my opinion, this is probably the last chance for the bears to take control of the situation, because if we end up breaking through this as well, in all likelihood, that would signal that this corrective move is again over sooner than the vast majority would have expected, and we're on our way to new highs. The Nasdaq, the Nikkei, all of them, and many other indices have already, in essence, broken through important resistance levels. So the chances that we're looking at a deeper corrective move lower have decreased substantially. Now having to do with the metals, you mentioned them. Gold is testing important trendline resistance, while silver, as you said, remains very, very well bid. And I don't know if you said that, but what I see looking at this chart that you're looking at the moment, Blake, is that we have a cup and handle formation.
Yeah, I don't think the base is big enough for me. And when I look at and
There's
here's
nothing
just
technically wrong with this being interpreted as a cup and handle. It doesn't violate any of the cup and handle.
I disagree. The handle is further than a 50% retracement. It's a 618. So I think the handle is too big, too deep. But you know, it's splitting hairs. I mean, you know, but I see what you're saying. You know, cup handle.
Yeah.
This is what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Again, I think the handle is too deep as far as a correction, and I don't think the base is big enough. But again, that's just a personal preference. It's like, you know, some people look at head and shoulder patterns a little different.
Now, if we assume that this plays out, it has a target at 63.5, by the way. Keep that in
Okay.
mind.
63.5, and that would
Yeah.
be an extension of this move.
Yes. Yeah. It
It'd be from here.
roughly takes us towards 63.5.
Well,
Roughly.
so when I do the cup and handle is from the bottom of the cup to the top of the cup. Then you take the handle, the bottom of the handle.
Depends on the theory. I use the from the breakout point extension.
Yeah, you do this, and I think
Yes.
it's always too rich. That's my opinion.
Of course,
That's
you
why
always have to take these targets. You know, I mean, it's not that you close your eyes, you put a long there and wait until 63.5 is being hit, right?
Yeah, well, you know, some traders do. Some traders do. But regardless,
And I expect it by next week, Steve. Okay, I just bought.
What are you talking about? We still have a few hours left in the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like Stelio said, and I've said it too. I'm so shocked by the silver strength. I mean, it's just unbelievable how strong it is.
Yeah, but it's not that much of a surprise, considering that risk has recovered, because that's important for silver to do well. We can't really be in stress, right? And combine that with the fact that the market is fully cognizant of the fact that silver has finally broken loose of the $50 chain, right? That was there for decades.
Yeah.
So given these two, I'm not surprised at all. I think that silver has huge catching up to do if we're talking about the long-term horizon, right? Think about how many years gold has been creating new all-time highs while silver was unable to reach levels that it first reached decades ago. And if you consider all the inflation that has come through the pipeline through all these decades, what 50 was when we first tested that level with what 50 is today, it's a totally different number.
The counter argument that's that the Hunt brothers squeeze was not a regular market event, right? It was a
Nonetheless,
anyway,
it was a registered market event.
Yeah, true. Anyway, I think we're
Right.
all bullish,
Let's not forget that with all its uses. Silver is also used to produce drones, and there's a lot of them being produced of late. So they need a bit of the less
I mean,
shiny
silver
part.
is used in multiple, yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
but
in
I mean,
multiple
you just add
applications.
it. You just add it on top of the rest. There's so many flying around now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we could probably come up with a lot more silver arguments, but we're running out of time as we are getting close to Canadian GDP data time. And the
Who has the number?
K-Man.
Because it always leaks.
What's oh yeah, well
Who has
Canada
the number?
does. Canada does. They Canada is like the epicenter of leaked data.
Yeah.
And so when it starts moving, this is going to be strong data. You can see it coming a mile away. So it should be strong Canadian GDP would be my view, and I've always said Canadian data is like it gets leaked way early, and you can see the dollar CAD has turned really strongly from 140.50. We are on trendline support. K-Man, do you have any expectations here? I mean, here we are, Canadians on its highs. I mean, Canadians been strong ever since the reversal up here.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of a bounce as well in oils, but it also comes from weaker state in Canada, and a lot of warnings, and a dovish Bank of Canada. The economy is not doing well. Carney saying that they need to dig themselves out of the hole. Yeah, so
Which of all the holes?
sorry.
And which are all Canadian dollar bullish, of course. I'm being sarcastic.
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
No, but
It's just our body humor. Don't worry about
it's
it.
but yeah. Anyway, go ahead, K-Man.
Didn't even
Continue on.
touch it. No, I say it wouldn't be surprising if it beats a little bit. Now, it has to be said that these are still Q3 data. We do have the preliminary October GDP also coming out, but I don't see any expectations for that number, unfortunately. Maybe it's not on my calendar. But do we have any expectations for it? I don't know.
Well, month over month, 0.1%. So expecting a better number, which
Is that point
obviously
one month over month for the?
month over month. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
what
that's still the September one. The
I'm looking. I'm
preliminary
looking on a
October
different
one,
calendar
maybe.
right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so maybe it's also maybe it's also month end, because the Canadian market has quite underperformed, and so there might be just a few Canadian dollars to buy for month end.
Maybe that's it. And speaking of which, the month end flows are going to be pretty messy, as you've been pointing out, and it's something that we need to be paying really close attention to as we are dealing with month end flows. Sorry, I got to make a couple adjustments on my end with my Chrome browser. Excuse me, really quick, guys. Hey, Stelios, any last minute thoughts before we get this Canadian data?
No, I'm looking at the daily chart, and we are right on support on the dollar CAD. So I mean, I don't know. Looks like the price action is for a stronger than expected GDP, but we're right on support. I will not take a guess. I really don't know what's going to happen.
All right.
Now,
K-Man, do you
watch
have
watch
any?
it come out negative.
What's that? Yeah, I
Say
mean,
no, watch it come out negative.
it possibly could.
Imagine.
Uh, you were saying.
No, I was just saying my browser has frozen here. Fortunately, you guys can hear me, and I can actually see.
Yeah, you can. We can
Oh,
hear
okay,
you.
there we go. All right. So
Can hear
yeah, data is going to be out here very
Just
shortly.
doesn't like you.
No, it doesn't. All right.
It's
Let's
about a
put on.
minute to go. And
Yeah.
then we should also have CME coming back online, right?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with futures. Obviously, the dollar just continues to the dollar is kind of sideways right now. Other than the dollar CAD, but yeah, should be strong Canadian GDP. Like I said, folks, whenever you see the Canadian moving ahead of data, it tends to be that way. But as K-Man's pointing out, we have end of month flows that we're dealing with as well. So that's obviously taking a toll on the markets. All right, so data will be out in a few. And by the way, Dale will be back on Monday. It's just he's took
Is that a
today
threat
off.
or a promise?
That's a little bit of both. All right, here we go. Better than expected. Woo! Never would have imagined that. And let's see. Yeah, quarter over quarter annualized, 2.6%.
Zero point
Strong.
0.2 month on month in October is, well, I
Yeah.
mean, it is something.
And
Dollar
you
CAD
see,
doesn't move anymore. Oh, well, slightly.
yeah, now
I'm
you can see the
keeping an eye on
Canadians
those
going.
futures. I'm keeping an eye on those futures, but I do not see them move yet.
They just
Okay.
spiked higher.
Yep. S&P's back on, guys. It's back
Yep,
up.
S&Ps has spiked higher. Stocks are going
68.40.
higher. Let's take a look what's happening in futures. You can see dollar CAD fresh lows, and we have futures moving on up. I don't see them here. I see them on my other quotes.
Nice.
Like I said, I've got them on other quotes,
I
not
see
necessarily.
68.35.
By the way, dollar CAD is well below 140 right now. It looks like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to whack the stops all below 140. That's the dollar CAD for you. And yeah, futures. Here, let's go over to a 1 minute chart. I can.
But I mean, they're moving a little bit, but most of my metals are still very stale. I'm not sure if they're already reopened because one that is usually pretty close to what is happening in the market is still $2 wide on my screen. So it hasn't tightened yet on the metals.
Dow futures just came off. So very sloppy markets, and expect the end of month flows to get a little messy as well. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here today. If you want to, if full coverage of what we're going to be doing will be in the Forex Analytics chat room. So take advantage of it. One of the benefits of being in the trader funding program is you get access to the Forex Analytics community and chat rooms with us, being there with all of us there. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys in there. Take advantage of the Thanksgiving offer. And I want to thank everybody for being here today with us on this Friday between Thanksgiving. And hope you all have a wonderful weekend. K-Man, you have any final thoughts before we go?
No, not really, man. I mean, those month-end flows. I'm going to let them do their own thing, and then we'll see. I'm just keeping my smaller positions that I have a little bit long Aussie. I tried to buy the dip in Aussie Kiwi, but it's all like small stuff right now. So
Yeah, it's hard to be too aggressive right now. Stelios, any last minute thoughts for you?
Don't eat yellow snow. No, that's not right. I don't know. Nothing.
No, that
Have
is
a
right,
great
actually.
weekend, everybody.
No, it is
that's an
actually
image,
right, Stelio. I think you shouldn't.
that's an image we could miss to go into the weekend,
I
All
think
right, very
eating
good.
yellow
Weekend,
snow is
everybody.
indeed not a good idea, Stelio.
No, it is not. Steve, any last minute thoughts before we wrap things up?
Listen to Stelios and don't eat yellow snow.
Okay, all right. Well, guys, have a great weekend. I'll look forward to seeing you all on Monday. I'm going to film the week ahead video a little bit later today, so be on the lookout for that on on our social media. Be part of the newsletter because we are giving away. Stelios, what is our giveaway for our newsletter? Once you join the newsletter, you are entered automatically to win.
Yeah, in November, it's 25,000 TFP one-step account and a 30-day Forex Analytics subscription and a 60-day Forex Analytics subscription. And it's probably going to be something around those things for December as well.
All right, so make sure you go to our website, join our newsletter today, so you can be entered. Here the last couple of days of November, and then we'll do a giveaway again in December. So make sure because this is how you learn about. We've been slowly talking about the different features we have in trading analytics. We've been letting them out in our newsletter on the weekends, or every week we're trying to let something out. So make sure you get onto our newsletter, and I want to wish everybody a great week and hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend for those of you that celebrated, and have a great weekend this weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.